This is CIT 1121, packet tracer 1777. This is a pretty cool packet tracer. If you like mysteries, there is a problem on this network and you have to find it. Actually, there's 3 problems on this network and you have to find all of them. So we'll go through this. We're going to look into the command line on PC1, PC2, PCA, PCB, and through one of those we'll access the router and we'll take a look at what's going on the router. The switches are clean and the rest of the network past the ISP is also good. So let's take a look at the objectives. It just says, hey, there's some problems. Let's go ahead and see if we can figure them out. And it says, you've got a trouble ticket. There's some issues. One of the things that you may need to do is SSH into the router with these credentials. So interesting they would give that to us. I wonder if we'll need them. And we will. So let's go through the steps that they've got here. So we've got steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's start with some basic stuff. So when we have a PC and that PC is on a network, we want to make sure that it's got the correct IP address. And the fastest way to get to that is ipconfig. And in this case, we've got 172.16.3.1, and we've got 172.16.1.1. And let's go ahead and try and ping our gateway. Let's start with that. So here we are. So we'll do ping 172.16.1.1, and this is not coming back to us. So request timeout. This means we're sending out pings for a destination, and that destination is not getting back to us. We're trying to ping our default gateway here, so we believe that's right. If we check our table up here, that is the default gateway of the router that we've got. So maybe we need to take a closer look at what's in our ipconfig. And oh, I missed this the first time. If we look at ipconfig, we've got 172.168.3.1.3 with the /24. And if we have a /24, we know that the first 3 octets would need to be exactly the same to follow the same bit pattern. They are not, so we need to fix that. So that's our very first problem. Let's go ahead and close this. We'll go to ipconfig, and let's just remove that 8. And now we should be in business. So let's go back and let's see if anything works a little bit better. So we're back into our command line. We'll ping our gateway now. Pinging our gateway totally works. So that's good news. So it says try to ping that, and then the instructions say also try to ping this web server also. So we'll try to ping the web server. It's 209.165.201.2. And let's see how that goes. Let's see if that works for us. So far, no, but hey, there we go. And it starts coming through, and that looks pretty good. And so that's working. And the next thing it says, why don't we try and ping PC2? And PC2 is supposed to be at 172.16.1.4. So let's try to ping that. So we'll go ping 172.16.1.4. And that is good to go. So we're able to cross this switch. Everything there looks pretty good. And then it says, well, how about trying to ping PCA? Well, PCA is supposed to be at 172.16.2.3. So let's give that a shot. So 2.3. Now, hey, look at that. Now we got a response back that says, this is a reply from 209.165.200.225. And if we look back, I think that address is posted in there, and that's on router 2. So router 2 is giving us a response back and saying, yeah, you know what? Something's not right there. We're getting an incorrect path, and this path is going all the way down here, and then it's bouncing back here and saying, yeah, I don't know where that network is at. So for whatever reason, the 172.16.2 network, which should be on router 1, is getting forwarded to the ISP router, and then it's coming back to you. So we can check that path, and we're like, oh, that definitely doesn't seem right. There's probably a problem on the router, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. So there's definitely an issue there. And if we try to ping PCB, which was 2.4, right here, 2.4, let's see what happens there. I think we're going to get we're going to get the same thing. So we're trying to ping two different PCs on the same subnet, and neither one of them are working. We're getting the same response. And it looks like misguided traffic because, once again, PC1 should be hitting router 1. Router 1 should say, oh, I know where the 172.16.2 network is. It's out this interface here. It's out G0/1, I believe is what this one is. And it should be forwarding it this way, but it's not. It's forwarding it to the ISP. The ISP is saying, you know what, I have no idea where that network is, and it's bouncing back. And it says, it's not in my routing table, so I'll get rid of it. Router 1 has a what's called a static default route, which we have not talked about in class at all. But I don't want to get too involved here. So far so good. Things are looking okay. The next thing it asks us to do is use a web browser to access the web server on PC1, and so let's go ahead and give that a try. So we'll put this domain name in there. So I'm just going to Control C. I think that'll work for me, and we'll close this. Let's find that web browser, which is up here. And I'm just going to paste that in and go. And it totally worked. So that's cool. So this is working. So what they're getting to here is this. They kind of brought DNS into this a little bit because we talk about DNS in chapter 17, and they're like, hey, you can't resolve a domain name unless the DNS information is correct. So basically what they've given us is this. So they've said, okay, everything's working. You have the ability through IP addresses to get to the internet, and they're saying the domain name was resolved with this DNS server. So if you know that this DNS server is working and is correct, you could check this against your other PCs to see if their DNS information is correct. That's all they're getting to there, and it's working. So we've got that solved. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. Okay. So PC1 is good, and we're ready to move into step 2. So step 2, it says let's head on over to PC2. So we go to PC2 here, and let's take a look at what's going on here. So do ipconfig, and in this case, it says why don't you ping the default gateway, which we will. And we have successfully pinged the default gateway. Okay, cool. And now let's try to ping beyond our default gateway. Let's see if we can get through that router over to the other side to where the Cisco PKA server is at. So let's ping 209.165.201.2. And let's see how this works. And this is failing. This is going to fail for us, which is not good. And there's a couple different ways to figure out how that we see that this is wrong. So we went to ping our default gateway. It was successful. We went to ping past our default gateway, and it was not successful. So there has to be a problem here. And the thing is, the problem is in the configuration of this device. The default gateway value is wrong. So we're trying to, when we ping the default gateway, we're saying we send out an ARP broadcast that says, who is 172.16.1.1? And it goes out to the switch. The switch uses a broadcast method, and it passes it to PCA, or excuse me, in this case, passes to PC1 and to router 1. And they both go, PC1's like, not me, so it doesn't do anything. But the router says, yeah, I'm 172.16.1.1, and it responds back. So we have success there. But when we want to get over here, we have to get the MAC address of the default gateway. And what our configuration says is, okay, we want to go past the default gateway. So let's do a ARP for our default gateway value, which is 172.16.1.11, which is incorrect. So we send out that ARP, and that ARP goes to PC1 and router 1, and they both go, that's not me, and they ignore it. So there's no ARP resolution for remote traffic from PC2, so it doesn't work. So all we got to do to fix that, though, is just get the right default gateway in on PC2, and it will start working. And we're in good shape now. Okay, so that's 2 of the problems that we've come through. Now let's go to step 3, and we're going to go to PCA, and then we'll go to PCB. So PCA, let's go ahead and move it up to PCA, and take a look at this, and we'll do an IP config. PCA's IP address should be 2.172.16.2.3. It is. Default gateway should be 172.16.2.1. Great. So let's try and ping that. So let's go ping 72.16.2.1. And let's see if that works. And that is not working. Not working. So that is a problem. So now we're starting to put some things together. When we were on PCs 1 and 2 and we tried to ping over to this subnet, the traffic was being forwarded out to the internet. And now that we're on the subnet, 172.16.2.0, when we try to ping the gateway, it's failing. So something's amiss on this side. Now, let's just make sure that it's not PCA that has the problem. So PCA's IP address is 172.16.2.3. And if we were to scroll back up here, we would see that PCB's IP address is 172.16.2.4. So we've gone from here. We tried to go here. It did not work. So that was a failure. Now, let's try to truncate this down. Let's just go from here to here. Let's see if we can do this. Let's go right across the switch and see if we can isolate where the problem is at. So let's go ping this time. Let's go ping 172.16.2.4. This is successful. This is successful. All right, now, just to make sure that we have the right problem, we're saying from here to here is a problem. From here to here is a success. Can we go from here to here? Will this work? So let's go to PCB and take a look at that. So go to PCB, desktop, command line. IP config, my IP address is 2.4, my gateway is 2.1. Let's try to ping 172.16.2.1. And we got a problem. So there's an issue here with 172.16.2.1 responding, which is supposed to be the gateway here. And we actually saw that before. So that being said, we need to take a look at what's going on at the router. Because if we can go from here to here, A to B, through the switch, and we can go from A and not get to R1, and we go from B and not get to R1, and B can get to A, and A can get to B, where's the problem? The problem is at R1, most likely. So we need to get into R1. Now, normally we would just click on R1, and oh man, we can't get to the tab that we need, so we're going to have to SSH in. If you remember way back at the beginning, say, hey, if you want to get into this, you're going to have to SSH in through a device. Well, A and B, we can't SSH in because we can't get to it. So we're going to go to PC1 or PC2. No big deal. The IP address is the default gateway, so it'll be 172.16.1.1. So let's go to PC1 and let's SSH into R1. So we'll do SSH-L. That is not a 1. I don't know how many times that people have, like, I can't get in. I'm like, it's an L. Like, oh, you know, it looks like a 1. I'm like, yeah, it's the same character, but it's an L. Trust me. And look at and this IP address is 172.16.L.L. It's not. It's 1.1. Please, just a humor. It's funny. Okay, so SSH-L admin 01 172.16.1.1 Cisco 1 2 3 4 5, and we're in. Sweet. We are authorized. So first things first, whenever we get into a router, there's a bunch of show commands you can use. A lot of the show commands I like to use are, the 3 I like to use are show run, show IP interface brief, and show IP route. Let's cut to the chase here. Let's go show IP int brief, and let's see what's going on with all of our interfaces. Now, right from here, we can see there's a problem. We just SSH'd in on this interface, 172.16.1.1, and we know that the other interface, the one that's pointing to where PCA and B are connected to G0/1, and that IP address here is listed as 172.16.3.1. But it's supposed to be 172.16.2.1. So that's where the problem lies. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we'll do config T, and we'll do int, and we'll do G0/1. And here's the thing. With IPv4 addresses, any given interface can only have one IPv4 address. So we don't have to do no IP address 172.16.3.1, we can just do IP address. We can just put in the correct address because there can only be one entry. And that should have fixed our problem. So we did score the points, so that's good. Let's go to PKA and just do a ping the default gateway this time, and it does work. And if we try to ping all the way out to 209, 165, 201, that should work as well. Whoops, too many dots. And it does. And this lab is solved. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the